Listen to Celtic Connections every Saturday afternoon at 1 on KSJE 90.9 FM, Farmington.
Hi, this is Sergio Miałniszenko with the Brazilian Hour. I would like to invite you to join me every week with the best and most exciting music of Brazil. Every week, right here.
Tune in the Brazilian Hour every Saturday night at 11 on KSJE Farmington.
How do you know what to make of the news? Is it politically inflected? Is it stenography? Is it just plain untrue? On the Media helps you decode the news. We reveal the process behind the story because there's sometimes as much to be learned from the gathering as from the news itself. Please join us.
Saturday mornings at 7 on KSJE Farmington. KSJE is supported by San Juan Regional Medical Center, your community hospital with a rich heritage that dates back to before New Mexico was a state. We've been improving the health of the Four Corners since 1910. As a nonprofit hospital, San Juan Regional Medical Center is a values-driven organization. We strive to deliver on our mission to personalize health care and create vitality and enthusiasm in healing. We are here for you when you need us, offering a comprehensive range of inpatient, outpatient, and emergency care services. Eleven minutes past 8 o'clock. It's Thursday morning here at KSJE 90.9 FM, the information and cultural beacon of the Four Corners, broadcasting from San Juan College. Good morning, everyone. I'm Scott Michlin, and thanks for tuning in this morning. Lots going on today. We want to get you up to speed on things that are happening around the area, and we'll be talking with my guests who are here from San Juan County also in just a moment. But first, I want to remind you about some of the school closings and delays that we are aware of to our north, pretty much. The snow has arrived in Colorado, that is for sure, by a look at our list today, but here it is from KSJE.com. Bayfield schools are closed, Central Consolidated on a 2-hour delay. Durango schools are closed. DZ School south of Bloomfield, a 2-hour delay. Fort Lewis College has closed. Ignacio, Mancos, and Montezuma Cortez schools all closed today because of the snowy weather that is impacting at least the northern part of our listening area this morning. Other thing I want to remind you about is Wolf Creek Pass is closed this morning. They are doing avalanche control on the pass, and so there are two sides of the pass closed on Highway 160, and you can see some of the images if you're watching us on our Facebook page or YouTube channel from Colorado Department of Transportation. Snows are falling heavily on the pass. They're doing some avalanche control, and no word from CDOT officials as just how long that pass and roadway will be closed today for the avalanche control, but they were certainly advising folks to do take care. Here at home, what we're expecting is some partly or mostly cloudy skies today with some off and on snow showers in our forecast. The high 36 in Farmington. More snow developing throughout the day and overnight tonight with snow again on Friday with a high of 37 and a low of 20. There's that winter storm warning in effect for San Juan County until noon on Saturday. Saturday, we're expecting mostly sunny skies with a high of 32 but a low of 2 degrees Saturday night, and partly sunny skies on Sunday, highs in the mid-30s and overnight lows again in the single digits. So coming up in just a moment, my guest from San Juan County this morning. We have San Juan County CEO Mike Stark here in the studios with us, and also San Juan County Commissioner from District 3, Jim Crowley, is here. We'll be talking with both gentlemen in just a moment this morning. Later on this hour, as we do every Thursday, we will check in with Jason Kelcoat from Citizens Trust and Investment Corporation. He'll bring us up to speed on the economy this week, some of the things he is watching for us. And then, of course, at 9 a.m. after the news, it's Roving with the Arts with Mick Hess. At 9:06, Mick is playing more Bach cantatas for us on Roving with the Arts. That is coming up today at 9 o'clock on KSJE. But let me turn to my guests, who I mentioned are here with me this morning from the San Juan County Government and San Juan County Commission. Commissioner Jim Crowley is here. Commissioner, good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for being here.
You're very welcome.
It's good to have you here. I think I'm embarrassed to say I don't know if you've ever been on the program.
I've not.
And that's a mistake. So we're glad you're finally here. We finally rectified that. So
I probably avoided it.
maybe was that it?
Probably.
Oh, well, all right. But you know what they say, like in broadcasting and politics, better late than never.
Correct.
Okay, it's good to have you here. Mike Stark is also here this morning, the county CEO. Mike, welcome back.
Good morning, Scott.
Speaking of never been on the program, you're the opposite. You've been on the program a lot.
I have, and I'm glad I was able to make it this morning.
I am too.
We didn't have
no snow day, no
Exactly.
2-hour delays, anything like that. But the weather has been a challenge for governments, I think, around the region, and county is no different. You have to get plows out just like everybody else.
Absolutely, and truly hats off to our citizens, hats off to our employees who make that happen during these tremendous events. It's quite an effort to clear 700 for the county, 745 miles of maintained road, and so we do it a very limited staff. But they do an excellent job, and they're ready to go tonight.
Very good. And I would imagine at different levels of elevation, too, in the county when you talk about some of those roads. Because you've got roads up by the Colorado border and all the way down to near the reservation. Yeah,
in addition to that, just the extreme topography within those different areas and different elevation changes just in the road, it makes it very challenging. But it's really a group effort with the team at the county, but also the municipalities in the state of New Mexico who are responsible for their respective roads. So, like I said, we've had some challenges this winter. We've actually had a winter.
We have. I know that's true. Yes.
But we've done a really good job, and citizens have been working well with us to make certain that we can keep the motoring public safe.
Well, that's good. And you're expecting the snow to start hitting us later on today, I think, as we were talking.
Our crews are anticipating later this afternoon between 2 to 3.
Your meteorologists and our meteorologists seem to agree.
Yes,
on some of that. Okay.
Yeah, that's advanced meteorologists.
Oh, very advanced for all of us. Yes, indeed. Exactly. Well, I would like to start by asking both of you about an issue that came up before the County Commission just this week, Commissioner Crowley, and that is the Second Amendment Sanctuary County resolution that was introduced and presented by Sheriff Shane Ferrari, and that was passed 4-1 at your meeting earlier this week. And talk to me a little bit about that resolution. How do you feel about that? You were one of the voted in favor of it.
I am. On Thursday, I was in Santa Fe with our sheriff, and we were standing there in the gallery kind of discussing what's happening, listening to the debate, and to see what was happening on the floor. The votes had already been discussed, and it was a 22-20 that would have shut the thing down, and it would not have passed. But as they were getting ready to go to vote, they opened the sponsor of the amendment. The sponsor started adding amendments. So then there was more time, and I think he was instructed to do that, though I don't know that. And so people from the fourth floor started coming down, and
that's the governor's office.
Yes,
right.
It is.
Yeah.
And started visiting with individuals, and their votes changed. And I hate to say they were bribed, but that's the bottom line of what I understood from people in the Senate who asked the questions.
But certainly you're not talking financial bribes. Are you talking maybe just some kind of vote for this and I'll vote for that, or those types of political conversations that take place? Sure. And this is a law that the state is considering that's been proposed by the new governor with some certain gun control legislation. This is what you're talking about, that piece of legislation.
Yes, that is. So
this resolution this week in San Juan County was in direct response to the conversations going on in Santa Fe about this particular piece of legislation.
Absolutely. It puts the sheriff in a very difficult spot to know what to do. Do I follow the Constitution of the United States and the laws of New Mexico, which already say what we've been doing, and now there's a change which is in conflict? How do we deal with this? And I can respect the fact that he doesn't want to send his deputies out into situations that are uncharted waters and very dangerous for them.
Right. And so, and again, and that law has not yet passed the legislature and certainly has not yet been signed by the governor, but we expect it to happen. Is that your feeling?
Yes.
From being there?
Without a doubt.
Yeah. And so, and I would imagine there'll be some court challenges and things like that, wouldn't you, with something as controversial as as this?
That's scheduled. I think there's no doubt about it. The ones who have talked about this and who are quite upset, being the Sheriff's Association, having no input in how we can make this work. Just this is what it is, and you face that when you're in a situation where both sides of the aisle are controlled by one party as well as the governor's office. I mean, they can do what they want.
And that was one of the concerns I think the Sheriff Ferrari spoke about, was that the sheriffs and the organization he's a part of from across the state were not consulted in drawing up this statewide law about maybe more gun control measures, more issues about guns, and trying to respect the Second Amendment. And that was one of his concerns, I think, that he brought to your attention at the meeting. Absolutely.
Yes, it was. So he had a really well prepared, and I appreciated how he approached it. And it's difficult because there were easily over 300 people there, and very few people were against it. There were some who were, but the ones who were, in some respects, at least volatile vocally, were at a place where they were, chanting USA and just protect my Second Amendment rights.
Right. It was quite the crowd. I saw the pictures, and I know it was an overflow crowd in the county commission chambers. I don't know if you've ever had a crowd that large before, at least in modern memory, for any kind of an issue. I know we've got a lot of controversial issues that the commission has had to deal with, but this one was quite the one that got the people to the chambers.
Absolutely. And I welcomed them to come,
Sure.
I had lots of emails, more than I've ever had in my 2+ years. I had a number of phone calls. I probably had 6 phone calls on Tuesday from people who were, I can't get there, but I want to weigh in, and I have your phone number. So
right. And I understand, listeners and viewers this morning, that we don't have Sheriff Ferrari here, who could probably answer some more questions a little more directly and what he plans to do with this resolution. And he may be a guest on a future program. But for right now, this has been passed, but it's just a resolution. It's not really any kind of a binding ordinance or anything from the county commission at this point, correct?
Correct. So as it was crafted, it came from Sierra County. And I think the other counties who have adopted this basically have used all the same language. Because there's the possibility that the sheriff could be held in contempt if he is, if this is signed into law and certain situations come up. And so that was the caution given to us as commissioners, that there could be an issue there. And but it was carefully worded, and I think the courts are going to have to decide.
Sure, and that's probably what we'll see.
I believe
later this year, if this does come to pass. And again, as of this broadcast, the governor is not yet. This has not yet passed the roundhouse. It hasn't gotten to the governor's desk, and so we don't know. But we expect it to pass.
Correct.
Is what we're talking about. Mike Stark, real quick, your thoughts on this? Again, it's at the direction of the county commission, I know, and the sheriff to bring this to their attention, and for the commissioners to ask questions, and then to decide if they want to vote in favor of this resolution or not. I don't know if your office had much to say about this.
Well, it's the sheriff that presented that resolution to the county commission. And to your point, it's not an ordinance. It's a resolution, which is an opinion of the commission, but it's an opinion of supporting the sheriff, and ultimately other sheriffs who have presented this similar resolution. My understanding that there are only 3 counties that at this point are not going to present this resolution to their commission, which is Bernalillo, Doña Ana, and
Santa Fe.
In Santa Fe,
probably.
And
I'm just guessing. I'm just guessing from those 3.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and to your point, I think it also ultimately, unless these laws are passed with an emergency clause, they'll go into effect July 1st. I know our sheriff is expecting an immediate challenge, and then the courts will ultimately decide and dictate whether these laws are constitutional or not, and I think then the sheriff will have to make a decision as to how to move forward. But in the interim, he would be choosing to not enforce those laws until that determination is made, and I think that's the key with all of this. So there's still a lot to happen. To your point, the bills have to make it their way to the governor. The governor has to sign them. They have to actually go into effect, which won't happen unless, like I said, they're passed with an emergency clause, which would be July 1st.
That would be the earliest, unless you, as you say. But again, there's probably going to be a court challenge, and that may help answer some more of the questions about what can and cannot be enforced under these new state laws, these proposed state laws.
Correct.
I suppose. Interesting. Well, again, we will try to get Sheriff Ferrari on the air here in the not-too-distant future to maybe answer more questions about this and his ideas about why he went to the county commission and presented this. But again, got a big crowd out at the commission chambers earlier this week, and it certainly is an important issue for folks on both sides, I think, to watch as things move forward. Gentlemen, I'd like to take a short break because I know we have a big topic to discuss when we come back, and that is this other piece of legislation regarding the future of the San Juan generating station here in San Juan County and PNM. And so we'll take a short break, everyone. When we come back, more with my guests from San Juan County in just a moment here on KSJE. The time is 8:25.
How LA housing agencies are trying to use